Oh boy, I did not think that I'd be doing this today. Our next guest is one of the greatest lacrosse players of all time. They call him the LeBron James of lacrosse. He's also the co-founder of the Premier Lacrosse League, which kicks off opening weekend Saturday, June 3rd on ABC and ESPN+. Paul Rabil, congratulations on all the success.
Thanks for having me.
When did you start playing lacrosse?
I started when I was 12.
When did you know like you were seriously really good?
Well, I wanted to quit when I first started because it's technically really difficult.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to find out in the next segment, perhaps.
Oh, gosh.
I'll put you through the ringer.
I heard I'm going to literally duct tape a pillow around myself and go in goal for you.
Well, then we'll have to put something on the line.
But I was talking a lot of trash on Twitter saying that it's like, you're not going to get one past me. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out some sort of friendly wager. But I want to get into this, first of all, with the Premier Lacrosse League, because it's really successful. It's always been successful. You're, obviously a huge part of it in the face of it. 12 nationally televised games to 16 this year. Tell me about that.
Well, we have a major media rights deal with ESPN and the Walt Disney Company, and our first year with them was last year. We had 12 games on linear. Now we have 16. 8 on ABC, which is incredible to try to grow the game.
I love that.
8 on ESPN, ESPN2. This is our schedule that you're looking at, so we're really excited. The games begin on June 3rd, and we have 2 games on ABC.
Can I come to I've never been to a game.
100%.
I don't know anything. Yesterday, they were trying to find a net, and what did I send on the group text? I was like, I cannot believe the nets are this small. I was looking at like images of them. I don't know much about it, so I'm excited.
Because you're probably used to seeing soccer nets, which are massive. Why don't they have more goals in soccer? I've always wondered. I mean, I grew up playing it, but that goal is massive.
All right, we'll get Robert Lewandowski from the Premier League to sort of teach you a thing or two, or maybe we'll do a little crossover action there. Talk to me about building the sport, because that's super fascinating to me. And you have investors like Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
You have WWE investing in you. How are you planning to build it further?
Well, our biggest investor is Joe Tai, who's the owner of Brooklyn Nets, co-founder of Alibaba. Then we have groups like Arctos. It's everywhere in sports right now. And Josh Harris was in the news for the Washington purchase in football. His business partner, David Blitzer, is an investor who's all over sports as well. So, I mean, we have an amazing group of owners. It's a single entity business, so they all own the league and the 8 teams that we have. We started to build, sort of rebuild, I would guess, professional lacrosse in 2018 because I had played in it for 10 years prior. Pro lacrosse had been around for 20 years, and it just wasn't cutting the mustard. There was the players weren't getting paid. My rookie wage was $6,000, probably a due for just a portion of this show. Now, if we look at just what entertainers are being paid and athletes specifically, we didn't have a distribution deal. So we were looking at what happened with UFC and MLS over the last 20 years and said, why can't lacrosse get there? So we started a new league.
And it's been successful, and you're growing, and you guys can check all those games on ESPN Plus and ABC this fall with opening day coming up. There's a perception of lacrosse I want to talk to you about, because that's some adversity too, right? How do we make it universal and sort of get over the Ivy League-ness of it all, that it's a Northeastern sport, that it's like all the Chris Longs and the Sam Hubbards and the Virginia guys. Like, how do we make it more widespread, I guess? Yeah,
and those guys play lacrosse. So I would say the first thing, because it's hard when you're changing the brand or reputation of anything. So the first thing is understand its history. So it's a Native American game. It's the first game of North America. It's been played for thousands of years. The second thing is, just like hockey or golf, it's an equipment sport, so it's expensive to play. And that means access is just different for anyone who wants to play a game that costs a lot of money to get out of the gates. That's different than soccer and basketball. I grew up playing rec sports, so the barrier to enter was much lower than it is now, where everyone's playing youth. And then the third is really what we think about is storytelling. And that's what we have the ability to do, and invest in the communities to help lower that barrier and create access. But it's a long-term investment. Changing perception and changing accessibility requires money and media.
Yeah, it's a good answer, and yeah, totally. It's why I didn't play hockey. I don't have, but now to make it more accessible and to make it, that's why not why I didn't play hockey. I just can't.
Where are you from?
Chicago.
Chicago.
But I mean, it was just soccer.
There,
it was soccer, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing I ever thought about until like college, when it became like a thing that would have been available to go watch.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If we needed ice and skates to play, that barrier is really high. But what the NHL has done over the last 20 years is create a much more visually accessible game, right? Because it's so celebrated. Arenas are packed and people love it. So they've actually changed hockey in North America from the professional level, and that's what we're trying to do at the PLL.
We love it. All right, now the Water Dogs.
Yeah,
Which I just love the names of all the teams. That's what I was asking my producers yesterday. We were going through all of them. The Chaos, which is like obviously where I'd be, and that would be my team. But the Lacrosse Club won the PLL championship last year. This made a lot of fans excited because they broke up the dynasty runs of the Whip Snakes and said Chaos that I was just talking about. So how does this help when an expansion team like that, the Water Dogs, sort of take down what I imagine sort of your version of the Patriots?
Yeah, well,
for a long time?
Well, yeah, the Whip Snakes were definitely the more established team.
Yeah.
They have basically a group that has tons of chemistry led by Jim Stagnita. And then you have our latest expansion team in the Water Dogs, or I should say second to last, because when we bought MLL, which something I left out, but we might get to it, which was the previous league, we merged and we added the Boston Cannons to our mix. They're now Cannons Lacrosse. So they're the 8th team. They're the underdogs this year, but pretty proud of the Water Dogs and how quickly they were able to get in the mix and win. You don't see expansion teams win as quickly as they did.
Now, you just had your draft for the league, right? And so I love an underdog, so I'm looking for my team. So there's 8 teams in this. It all kicks off on Saturday, June 3rd on ABC and ESPN Plus with Premier Lacrosse League. Who is my team? Like, I picked the Bengals before the Bengals became the Bengals.
Okay, so if you want the underdog, it's the Cannons.
Okay. Tell me why.
That was the team that I played for before I retired. Right here.
Oh my God, there's FanDuel odds, Paul. Look at this.
Yeah, so we're there.
And now we're speaking my language. Talk to me.
So there you go. The Cannons are, what would that be?
Oh, this is your Cannons
10 to
thing.
1. So they have a new head coach in Brian Holman. They're going to be good this year. And they're always, when you have an 8-team league, everyone's sort of in the mix. And 7 of our 8 teams make the playoffs, kind of like the NBA. Everyone gets in just about.
I love that.
And then you can, stir it up and make the best.
So the Cannons, and you were a Cannon.
I was a Cannon, yeah.
So you brought me a gift.
I brought you a gift. I also brought you a lacrosse helmet.
I don't even know how to literally, I don't know what to do with this. I don't even know how to hold it.
It seemed very natural right out of the gates. You were already twirling it. We're basically... We're basically a part of the baton team, lacrosse players.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay, but listen, Belichick, we're just talking to Gronk about how he always brings in these guys. This Dox Aitken guy, which is the most lacrosse name ever. He was invited by New England to really. It is. I'm not saying it's tough. Well, listen, I don't think you heard because you were getting mic'd up. Gronk said Belichick's obsessed with it because it's toughness.
Yeah.
Because and I'm like, wow, that's a football player who basically had every injury possible, played as hard as he could, guys draped on his legs, he's ruining his knees, running up and down the field, and he's saying like, man, this is tough. Like, I'm thinking rugby, I'm thinking football.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily think of lacrosse. I think a little East Coast. I think a little Ivy League. I don't think, when I found out Sam Hubbard played, I was like, what? So talk to me about the toughness of the sport.
Well, you can hit each other with the stick.
Like actually each other? Like American Gladiators.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and actually lacrosse got its first bump in America on American Pie. If you remember.
Yeah, Stifler.
They were all playing.
He was a lacrosse guy. I think that's literally my introduction to lacrosse was that.
Yeah, and Mean Girls and Rachel McAdams was also tough.
Yeah, yeah.
That was when lacrosse was at its rise, and then it dipped.
But
and then
did they help more than it hurt? Because now you have to go back and redo the PR thing.
It was actually pretty great in America. Well, Stifler, but Oz was the captain and the guy that everyone ultimately wanted to be. He was the payoff, wasn't he?
Did you want to play lacrosse because of that?
Because of Oz. Yeah.
Is it?
No,
Is that true? I think that's great if that's true. That's amazing.
The power of movies. So it's tough because, one, it's the Native American game. It was played for the creator. It was played without rules, and you have one ball, and everyone has their sticks, and it's kind of like no holds bar. Yeah. And I think what Bill really likes is the speed, the agility, the free-flowing, the toughness, as he said. There's not a sport where you really get cross-checked in precarious positions and have to build sort of strength and explosiveness and soft tissue, which is where all of the injuries are nowadays in the NFL. And then he tested that with Chris Hogan, who won 3 Super Bowls with him. And then we got Chris back into the PLL.
Oh, he's there.
Because he was a All-American at Penn State.
Oh, what an athlete he is. But there was a guy who got a Falcon for a minute, made the roster. Now you got this Dox guy. You talked to Belichick. Yeah. Is that weird? Because you want guys in your league, but Belichick is doing his Belichick-y stuff and trying to take guys from you.
Yeah, he is. I know it's very awkward between us right now.
Why?
Because he has to do what's best for his business. And, when he takes on a lacrosse player...
It's good for you.
It's good for us, but I also love Dox to play in the PLO because he's an amazing athlete. Sam Hubbard, you talked about. We think about, Jared Bernhardt for the Falcons. He was the best player in college lacrosse. I'd love him in the league. You even have Pat Spencer, who's in the G League right now, but almost made the Warriors. He was the Tewaaraton winner, the best player in college lacrosse, now in the NBA. And so these athletes are amazing. And that goes back to your point around, who are these players in the sport? How do we celebrate them? How do we storytell around them? How do we put it in the media? But we have some of the best athletes in the world. And so, yeah, I think that in the short term, Doc's playing for the Pats or Chris Hogan or Sam Hubbard and us being able to talk about that maybe changes the perception.
Yeah.
I think in soccer.
It's a good PR bump. It's a good story. We talk about it a lot, but then you want these guys. So it's very funny that it's you versus, literally nobody wants to argue with Belichick over anything. And you're probably
how do you compete with the NFL? The other thing,
how?
Right? Well, I was going to say, every league to bust through has some type of stereotype, right? So soccer for 100%. Don Garber 20 years ago was the guys who got cut from the basketball football team. And he needed to illustrate that soccer players in America were as good as soccer players overseas. UFC was basically Shinnecock League fighting.
Oh my God, I can't believe you just said
I'd listened to that. I was going to say cockfighting.
I would never say.
But I think it's Shinnecock
it's like people
golf
who have to,
course,
it's
right?
like reporters who have to say slipped disc, and then they say the wrong thing, and then it's like a whole
no one
internet
wanted to touch the
Didn't
UFC.
do it.
No one wanted to touch the UFC because it was so dangerous, and it was this blood sport. And then they shifted that perception in a way that made it safe enough to invest. Not to mega multi-billion-dollar league. So ours might be, sort of the diversity angle or the prep school or the Ivy League, as you'd said, and we're hammering it. And,
you want to make it available to as many people as possible, and it is growing as it, of course, is. ABC's not putting this on ABC proper if they're not super interested, and I'm super interested. So you and I are gonna, God damn it, we're gonna do something. We're gonna get Lacrosse.
Are we allowed to say
after
that?
This. Literally, somebody's dropped an F-bomb. If I get dinged for what I just said, I'd quit. I'm out because everyone's just dropping.
I brought tennis balls so we don't have as hard of balls.
Don't mention balls now. Go to the break.
It's super different.
Get in on the NBA playoff action right now. From the first tip with FanDuel, right now new customers can get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, there's no better place to bet on all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Hit up Chandler Parsons on Twitter for tips, guys, and download FanDuel Sportsbook today. We'll be back with, speaking of basketball, LeBron of Lacrosse. Because there's nothing on there. The prompter's not on, so I don't know how to do that. I'm here with LeBron James of Lacrosse, as our studio is literally falling apart today, guys. But that doesn't matter because we've got the sticks and the cradles and the silver spoon.
Exactly that. I'm going to teach you how to cradle and shoot.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then I think we have something over here.
Okay, let's do that. We only have 3 minutes left, so teach me.
Okay, all right. So ball and stick.
But this is not the proper ball, right?
No, we brought softballs because you were
their equipment from 1929.
You were originally going to go in the net, and then we ran out of time. Coincidentally.
I'll go in the net. I'm not afraid of you. What do you got?
We ran out of time.
Shoot.
No. You're not getting out of this demo.
Can you just do right there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't trust you at all. Do that again.
Okay.
Do right there. Okay, that's actually terrifying. I'm not doing that. All right, teach me.
So our lacrosse balls are actually much harder than this. They're dense and full rubber. So we brought in tennis balls for safety on set. Anyway, so you have the ball on your stick, and I would just cradle. It's just a little wrist action like that. Yeah, there you go.
Like this?
Yeah, that's
it.
But I'm
like this way?
Now you're a player.
Yeah. That's right. Take that, Matt Rambo.
And then to shoot, take your top hand down just like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
That's so athletic.
It's just something that it works on its own. You sort of know. You get a stick and ball, and then you all of a sudden shoot. Okay,
let's do these. Here's some crazy names my producers came up with, and we're going to see what they are. Okay, around the world.
Okay.
I think around. No, don't tell me now. Okay. I think around the world is when you have the ball in here, and then you're like, woo, and then do that. What is it really?
That's exactly what it is. So we have an overhand shot, a behind the back, and then an around the world is like that.
You were this far, this close to hitting me in the face, and that would have been such good television.
Oh my God.
Oh man. Okay, let's see. How about a worm burner?
Okay, so a worm burner. This is also very stereotypical lacrosse. What we're getting right now.
I'm sorry.
I saw. Yeah, but that's okay.
Oh no, we're trying to rage against that machine.
All right, so worm burner is when you shoot the ball low to low. and you sort of skid it off the turf and it goes in the net.
The speed at which this is happening is wild to me.
This is slow, okay?
Okay, really hit it. Give me, okay, big boy,
Okay,
hit it. Really? No, I'm not, yeah.
Only if you do it as well.
Okay, sure. Well, I'll do it before you, so I'm not
now,
super
granted,
embarrassed.
I've been retired for 2 years.
Get rid of your
so
tropes, your peanut butter and your top cheese cheddar Twizzlers. Okay, we're gonna cradle.
All right, you're gonna let it go
cradle. I like to do a little dance when I cradle.
Okay, right.
There
you go.
All right, go. Whip it. Go.
Okay,
Kill it. Jesus Christ.
So
Check out PLL, June 3rd. We're going to get you all the info.